No armchair quarterbacking today. Welcome to the superpilotish channel. My name's Graham Wilson, and today I'm going to be talking about how safe flying really is. And I'll be doing that in my basement. So, yeah, there was just recently around where I live, over just not too far, just a few miles away, over in the other side of Detroit, there at the Willow Run Airport. Whoops, had a little bit of an accident over there. And generally on the Super Pilotish channel, we don't do any armchair quarterbacking unless I bring out my actual armchair here. You can see there's no arm. So I won't be talking about any armchair quarterbacking there, but suffice to say that the two guys that were on board the airplane, it was an old jet, and they ejected, and they ejected safely, and they lived. And luckily, the airplane, when it came back down to the ground, super lucky, is no one was injured there, and no real property was damaged. It just kind of plowed into some backyard by some apartments and burned, and they put it out. That's the end of that. Super lucky when it comes to that stuff. But that was kind of a weird one there. And I was like, because I'm on Twitter and social media, it's the biggest thing in the world, and most people probably don't even know about it. So because the social media kind of puts you into your own little box, and I'm in the pilot box, which is a good box to be in. And so it was like, oh, that was really close. Like those, I've never actually been to that airport, but I've seen it off in the distance when I was flying. So that's how close it was. And it was at an air show, and so it was a MiG 23, the flogger, as they call it. And so when I saw that, it was like, oh, MiG 23. I saw one of those when I was down at the United States Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio, and they have a MiG 23 there. So that was built way back in the I guess it was kind of designed in the late 60s, started getting built in the 70s. It's basically kind of I don't know, I guess you could kind of call it the Soviet version of the F-14 Top Gun. Excellent. Airplane, original Top Gun. But it was yeah, it's one of these ones that had kind of the adjustable wings, what they call it, variable sweep wings. So it can kind of take off. What the heck? Let's get a whiteboard out here. I like drawing things. Yeah. So what's a MiG 23 like? And will you ever fly on a MiG 23? No, you won't. You'll be flying on a nice safe airliner, and I'll be getting to that a little bit later. But I just kind of like talking about MiGs because they're super cool. And okay, what do we got? A MiG. There we go. That's a MiG. A little stick. Well, they're designed to go supersonic, I think. And so, okay, it's got a little tail over here. Then we got, so when it takes off, okay, this is a horrible depiction of a MiG 23. So when it takes off, the wings are like that. So that's a lot easier to take off and land when the wings are like that. But then, just like our good friend the F-14, these things can sweep back, and then it kind of looks more like this. Yeah, so like that, and then this is all gone. There we go. So now it's looking a little bit more streamlined, and you can go break the sound barrier if you want. So, oh, and hey, Dan, hey, Al, and hello, Gray OG. So, yeah, so it was one of those kind of F-14 kind of planes, and I remember seeing a MiG 23 at the museum, the Air Force Museum down in Dayton. And these, I don't know, these Soviet planes, when they were made, were just so cool, like MiG 21s. They made tons of those, and then MiG 23, they made a ton of them too. So, and I don't know, usually anything I've ever heard about anyone that's I don't know, that's ever worked on a Russian or a Soviet jet, or even other airplanes. Like, I learned how to fly in a Zlin 242, which was made in, at the time, Czechoslovakia, and then they kind of broke up into the Czech Republic and Slovakia after the after the Cold War ended, and then they started selling them here. And like that was a really strong plane. This I guess Iron Curtain built kind of Czech airplane, and yeah, fully aerobatic and nice plane to fly in. And it also had like the control stick was like very high. You always find that you see that with in any of the videos you see of like Sukhois or anything like that. They got this great big stick that's really up high in northern, I guess, American and European. They kind of keep the stick a little bit lower. Why do they do that? I don't know. Maybe for more leverage or something like that. If it's up higher, but or maybe that's just how they roll over in the Soviet Union or how they used to. So and they were always these the Soviets, when they, you can see, because they didn't have to worry about making a profit or anything like that, because it was Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. So hey, the government paid for everything. So it's always neat to see these things. Like even when I was a machinist, that it was always cool to work on if you had some old, I don't know, 1950s Czech boring mill or a Russian one or something. Those things were built like tanks, like like super thick bases, cast iron bases on these boring mills and stuff. Very accurate, very good, really simple. Just here's some simple gears, here's some simple knobs, click, click, clank, clank, and it just it just goes like a mother. And so I think that's the way that I can just like look at when I saw the MiG-23 in Dayton. It was like, oh, cool, MiG. And it's like, this is actually a pretty big plane. And it was like the engine, like the back of the engine on it, well, the nozzle was just gigantic. It was this huge engine nozzle. Like instead of like, like, hey Sergey, let's make this plane like the Americans are making this F-14 over there. And they're like, oh, what's that? Yeah, it's got two engines. It's like, we just need one engine. Okay, here we go. What's the biggest engine we got? One of these. Okay, throw that in there, Sergey. Great big monster engine. And it's like, oh, we need bigger tanks, gas tank for burn all this fuel. Oh, make bigger gas tank. Okay, cool. And now it won't take off. Okay, make the wings move. And then so they just put this big monster engine in there, and it was just like, okay, oh, it can't get off the ground. Okay, let's build a bigger engine and we'll put it in there. So Sergey's making these gigantic engines, burning tons of fuel. And that was another thing too. With I was in Cuba once, and there was a Antonov AN-2 there, this old biplane, and same thing, the old Russian biplane. It was designed to be kind of a, I don't know, I guess kind of like a small troop carrier, or that you could fly the officers around. It was designed to take off and land off of very short runways, rough runways. And this thing, it was a great big monster radial engine on the front. You can tell they were just like, oh, it won't get off the ground. Okay, put a bigger engine on it. Okay, put a bigger engine on it. Stick another wing on it. Okay, now it'll go. Just burn a ton of fuel. Big stinky old radial on the AN-2. Anyways, yeah. So, and one other thing, that if one day somebody might be able to tell me what it was, and I'll be getting to airliner safety here eventually. I just like talking about airplanes. So, and so an airplane is an airplane. It doesn't matter whether it's flying through the air, and if it's flying through the air, all the physics is working on it, so it is an airplane. So anyways, on the bottom of these MiGs, I couldn't figure, like, I saw all these other planes. There was only and I could see, okay, that jet, like that, like all the planes through all the years at the museum, I could say, okay, that's an antenna for that. Okay, that's the pitot tube, that's for the airspeed. Okay, that one there, that's an antenna for radio. Yeah, okay, that's well, it's VOR. Okay, and then so like, okay, I can kind of tell everything was everything, and it's like, so it was like, when I got to the Soviet planes, I think it was the MiG-21 and the MiG-23, and I think there was another one too. They had this like funny, weird looking thing on the bottom. It's like, okay, like it looked weird, like some kind of like one of the Tsar's scimitars or something. It was this weird shaped thing made out of brass, and it was kind of like this. And then it had a thing like this, or a couple of these things, and then it was like this. It kind of looked like a mushroom, not really. Like it was just kind of flat and like a very sharp, came to very sharp points at the end here. And then that would kind of stick on the belly of the airplane. It was kind of sticking out like that. And I was like, I could not figure out for the life of me what that was. Like a air temperature probe, or and I don't know what it was. It was just something. And then the other thing I couldn't figure out was at the bottom of the SR-71 Blackbird. There was a couple of these little. It almost looked like they were retractable, and these little things like that were at the bottom of the SR-71, and you could see where the air, because it goes so fast, the air was breaking down the leading edge of this little thing that came out. What was that? I don't know, maybe an antenna or something. It looked like it could be retracted in, but that was on this SR-71 Blackbird. So if you know what a brass looking thingamajig like this on the bottom of a MiG is, email me at superpilotish@gmail.com. Okay, so that's that. So I was gonna talk about, like crashing. Ooh, we don't like talking about that. Accidents rather. But same thing goes with this relatively local accident over in the States. It was like, you got to wait until the investigation is in. So it's real easy to armchair quarterback. It's real easy. Anytime there's any type of an accident in aviation, I've been through it too, not where I've had an accident, but other people that I was responsible for kind of telling the government what happened or the insurance company. You got to kind of take a step back at first if there's any type of an accident. And part of that is when there is an accident, even even the toughest pilot there is going to kind of question themselves and go, "Do I really want to keep doing this?" And then that's where your logic kicks in and says, "Aha! Statistically, it's safer to fly than it is to drive." That's an old thing that's always in your brain, and you kind of rely on your logic to do that. Like I'm pretty sure, like I've never done any skydiving, and I kind of don't want to do any skydiving because I guess I'm afraid of skydiving, like people are afraid of flying in jet airliners, because it's like, oh, statistically, your parachute always opens, but what if it doesn't? Oh, then you got a reserve chute. What if that one doesn't open? Then you're dead. Oh, but sometimes you live. You just bust your back and legs and arms and everything, and you're doing physio for the rest of your life. You can still live. No, I'll stay on the ground. No, I'll stick to airplanes and motorcycles. It's safer. But yeah, no, I don't want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. So, but I mean, for those guys and gals that go out and jump out of airplanes, in their mind, it's like, yeah, I only have like it's like a 1 in 100,000 chance of dying when I jump out of this plane. Let's go for it. Woo! And then, so I did like just a little bit of research, as I do here on the Super Pilotish channel. I only do a little bit of research, and so I found some random website. But they generally all kind of say the same thing, regardless of what statistics or what website you find. And the one that I like the best, so I'll tell you, is the this one random website, some guy somewhere said it, was that if you're what is it, the chances of a fatality in driving a car is 1 in 114, and the chance of a fatality in an airliner is 1 in 9,821. I don't know how they came up with that, but I like those odds. So, but one thing I do know too, I'll get the whiteboard out here for safety. Generally, if you look, no matter what statistics you're looking at from what government, what website, wherever you're finding it, you'll find that in general, is that if you're flying a plane that's in like Canada, United States, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, Japan, China, like anything that's kind of like a little bit more of a, I don't know, a developed society or a richer society or something like that, they have more money for maintenance and training and everything like that. So you'll find that the accident statistics are, it's considerably better. So like if you want to fly to, I don't know, you want to fly to Africa or something like that. I'm going to go to Botswana. I don't even know if Botswana has an airline, but it's like, okay, that's some little country in Africa. I don't know anything about Africa. I go, yeah. Anyways, so it's like, yeah, let's go to Botswana or something. Or I don't know, where's the revolution going on now in Africa? I don't know, someplace like that. Burkina Faso. I don't know. So you don't hop on Burkina Faso Airlines. You're going to go on like British Airways, or something like that. Although I heard, I don't know how South African Airlines is doing. I don't think I hear too many crashes from them, but generally everything I found, it's like, yeah, you stick to the North American, European, or like even like El Al. They got a from Israel. They're pretty good. Emirates is good from the Dubai. I think they're based in. So yeah, and you'll see over the years. Here's my super scientific, super pilotish graph. So we'll say number of oopses. Okay, on this axis, that will be the number of oopses. We won't call them crashes. It'll be whoops, an accident. And going back to, we'll say like about 1980. Whoop, 1980, and then we got maybe 1990 over here, 2000. We'll go with 2010. There's my super accurate, totally reliable, verifiable thing. So you see, it generally it goes like this. So what you can see is the number of oopses are going down. But if you look at the number of flights, that are commercially done, like airline transport flights, that has been steadily increasing, not at a huge rate, but okay, we'll say instead of the number of oopses, we'll just label this with another color to illustrate. I don't know. I took some kind of class in statistics, but I might have taken a couple, but I don't know if they got into graphs too much. And then we'll say, okay, the red will be number of flights. Okay, so we got the number of flights is like that, and number of flights kind of goes slightly up over the years, something like that. So the amount of flights has been actually going up, and the rate of the oopses has been steadily going down. So that's a great trend. If we can keep that up, we're in good shape for safety. So it just keeps getting safer and safer every year with better safety systems, better technology, better training, better, like everything just kind of gets better. And we learn from our mistakes in aviation. So I'm sure over in Detroit there, the transportation guys are going to be checking out some old Soviet wreckage and they'll find out what happened. I'm sure you don't eject out of an airplane and take that lightly, but it must have been pretty imminent where things were not going to go well. As it turned out, lost an airplane, probably wasn't insured. I can't even imagine what the insurance would cost on a MiG-23. But what the heck? If you what they say, any landing you can walk away from is a good one. Well, they walked away. good crash landing, I guess. But yeah, there you go. So there you go. When you're thinking that, I don't know if the airlines are safe to go flying on. Sure they are. Look at that. Some guy in his basement made a graph. That's gotta be that should be proof for you, right? But yeah, and you'll find that you can Google search all over the internet forever and ever and ever, and that's what you're gonna find. All right, so there we go. Just a little show today that even if you it's real easy with social media and with TV and everything. That it makes for good ratings and good clicks to talk about accidents and stuff. And there's all YouTube channels dedicated to that kind of stuff. And I can kind of see like Mentor Pilot. He's a guy. He does really good kind of post accident wrap up kind of thing. He gets some really good clicks, but I do like the Mentor Pilot YouTube channel, and he does it in a kind of a non-shocking way, but puts it in factually. So something like that. I can kind of get away with that, or I can let that slide for talking about accidents. But people that want to sensationalize things and scare people, I mean, it works for likes and clicks and views and making money. But if you just want to scare people, like that's not cool. We always try to be cool here at the Super Pilotish channel. So, all right, here we go. Let's I am going to just take a look at the comments over here and see if we got any questions or anything like that. All right, what do we got here? See, eventually I won't be able to scroll all the way through, hopefully. What do we got here? There we go. So good old Dan here always admired MiGs. I know they are just super cool planes, and yeah, they're just really awesome. And what else we got here? Okay, here we go. Wrench was late. No big deal. That's why we have a replay function on YouTube. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, here we go. So Wrench is talking about how flying is safer in part 135, part 91, not so much. That's an FAA thing. I forget. I'm going to take a guess that part 135 is airline stuff. Part 91 is probably general aviation. That's my guess. I don't know. Am I on the right track there, Wrench? Yeah, anyways, yeah, so that is something to consider, is that, yeah, and that's why I specifically talked about airlines, is that what do we got here? Yeah, so airlines get safer and safer. The general aviation, where little airplanes that I fly, yeah, you got to kind of watch it. Statistically, it's not safer than driving your car. But there's a lot of things that you can do to mitigate that. Like, I mean, you look at the amount of people that, because they're not doing proper maintenance on their planes, or it's some kind of home built, they run out of gas, they fly it into a mountain, and they're not supposed to be flying through the clouds, stuff like that. That's just something that just, I don't know if you. Last time I heard about an airliner running out of gas was. Actually, just in Canada, when they switched from gallons to liters, they call it the Gimli glider. They stuck in so many liters instead of so many gallons of gas, and it ran out of gas. And then there's another guy landed Air Transat in the Azores, I think, and he ran out of gas too, because I think there was like a fuel leak, and they transferred fuel into the tank that was leaking. So, oops. But he ended up gliding it into. And so we're good gliders up here in Canada, even if we run out of gas. All right. Oh, here we go. I didn't see what Al was talking about there, but Wrench was saying that in Florida, they let pilots fly the shuttle runway with the right request. I know someone that did that too. That's true. You can do that. You can do like a low approach, ask for a low approach at the space shuttle runway, and forget how long it is. It's pretty long. It's like 12,000 feet or something. Okay. Okay, something worth Googling here. Google the Port-au-Prince air control tower. It's a shipping container with an RV on top. Yeah, I wouldn't be flying the local airlines around there. So it's one of those things, it's kind of bad if you're like, yeah, if you're living in a poorer countries and stuff like that, a lot of times the corners can get cut here and there. Oh, and Gafuk, I see you here. Okay, so yeah, so there we go. MiG-23 is really complicated, has a swing wing. Yep, you missed that, Wrench. You showed up late. No, there we go. So okay, so not a whole lot going on here. Anything new here with me? Nope, just that. Okay, so that's about it for today. Today is Monday. Oh, that was another thing too I saw on Friday. Because this air show that was over in Detroit, I was gassing up my car. I saw a DC-3 flying by, and I was like, "Oh, cool." Then it's like, "Oh yeah, Thunder over Michigan." That's the name of the air show. They have that every year. I was like, "Oh, DC-3, cool." Nothing like listening to a couple big radios flying overhead. And yeah, so back on Wednesday, because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern, and we'll just kind of, we're just gonna shut her on down here. So, thank you for watching. Bye.